Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the Rocket Sports Report. My name is Justin Krause, and I'm the sports editor for the Rocket. We are joined by two very special guests here tonight. We have the Milk Jug, and we have also the NCAA's All-Division all-time leading sack leader, Marcus Martin here. Marcus, it's a tremendous honor to have you here.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
We'll start with the elephant in the room, Marcus. What does it feel like to have the Milk Jug back after a long year where Clarion kept it hostage from us?
Oh, I mean, it feels great. We talked about it all week coming up to the game, and it felt great holding it up after the game. That's for sure.
We're gonna make a little room here, so don't worry. It's still behind us. It's always with us in spirit. So, Marcus, you've done a lot of things, of course, and you're going to get asked a million questions about all those, but I know something that matters to a big man the most. You finally got to score a touchdown. Yeah. So how did that feel, the whole thing? I mean, you were clearing away for 50 yards.
Once I seen the ball, I told myself I wasn't getting caught. I made it personal after that point to, the good thing was it was towards the scoreboard, so I got to watch everybody from behind me. They're all gray jerseys, so I said, nobody's going to catch me on this one. So, it felt really good. Earlier in the season, my grandma told me I had to promise her that I'd get a touchdown by the end of the year, and, I pulled it off, so she was happy just as much as I was.
So like Justin alluded to, this past weekend, with 4.5 sacks, you broke the NCAA all-time, all divisions career sacks record. Has that sunken in yet? Has that hit you yet?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been calling me, the GOAT. That's the thing going around now. So, greatest of all time, it feels great. I mean, it's hard to put that in perspective. I just feel like another person who's just playing the game of football. But, a long time ago, I made it personal and, put goals out in front of me that I was striving for to get. I was definitely one of them, but, it wasn't in the arm's reach until, this season. So, it feels amazing. The football team's like a family. They support me so much, and just the guys, they made me feel better about it than anything else.
And my question to you is, you've been attempted to be blocked by a lot of people over the years. Yep. Is the person who you found the hardest to get around, were they a Slippery Rock player in who's one of the guys you remember that was just real hard to get around?
I mean, I'd probably say, probably one of the offensive tackles on our team, because they're used to going against me just as much as I am against them. And, thankfully our coaches have done a great job, recruiting these players who, are all conference, even all-American players such as Corey Tucker over the years. And then obviously Biggs on our team as well, we call him. But, yeah, Gaviglia. And going against guys like those, they press me every single day. Today, even in practice, it felt good, getting after it with them. And, those are the guys who I really contribute these sacks to because, they work with me every day.
I talked to Coach Mahalik earlier today, and he talked about your true freshman year. There were some circumstances where you ended up having to get redshirted when he thought you were going to be a big contributor. And he said that he remembered most of all telling you, in 5 years, you're going to be thankful for this. It's 5 years later. Are you thankful that you were redshirted that one year?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where everybody kept telling me it was a blessing in disguise. And, when you're young like that, fresh out of high school, you just want to play. And it's hard to see the future like that. It's the hardest thing about life is you don't know what's ahead of you. And, when I am sitting here with you guys and you're asking me questions like this, I think back and I'm so thankful that happened like that. And, it truly was a blessing in disguise.
So I just want to share a little anecdote with you. 2 years ago, I went to New York City for the first time. Of course, I wore a Rock shirt there. Represent. First person who I saw getting out of the terminal, he said, "That school, you guys got that defensive lineman, don't you? That Martin guy." And I was like, "Yeah." That's whenever I first started working with Rock football. And then tonight, whenever the Rocket, me and Cody were having dinner with interim President Philip White, first thing he said to me is, "You better ask Marcus about his getting nominated for the Campbell Trophy coming up in December." So has that sunk into you that if someone says Slippery Rock University, you're going to be like one of the people associated with Slippery Rock University?
Yeah, I mean, that's something you can't explain, It hits deep down, it's something personal, You always strive to be good, but, to be something great like that. And even, people have mentioned down the road, even the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. And, it's one of those things where, you can tell your kids about, it's hard, I'm 22 years old, and just to think down the road, I'll be talking to my kids about stuff like that, and that's when it's really going to mean a lot. Right now, like I said, I just feel like another football player who's playing for Slippery Rock.
Obviously, the team has, at the very least, 2 games left, and then right now it's looking like a pretty good chance you'll make the NCAA playoffs. But is it tempting for you to look a step further at, the NFL Combine, maybe, meeting with teams and looking forward to the draft, just with what you've accomplished in college?
Yeah, I mean, of course, even going into the season, meeting with people, talking to a lot of people, that was definitely on my mind. But one thing I learned over the years, you just got to keep focused on one thing at a time, and of course, that's the season right now. But, like people bring it up all the time, it is something in the back of my head that I'm working towards, staying healthy, keep being productive, stuff like that, just trying to set myself up best as possible for the future.
Now, obviously, you're not one of those guys who's going to talk too much about your own personal accomplishments. You never do. But you were nominated for a very prestigious award, only 13 nominees in the country, only Division II nominee. So what is some of the reaction from your family members? Because I've met your family before at games. There's somebody who I definitely see them appreciating an $18,000 post-grad scholarship as much as the all-time NCAA sacks leader. So what has their reaction been?
Yeah, I mean, it's just something, they always tell me, like, that's something you did on your own. It's not like your family can help you get those awards. It's not like I knew somebody or anything like that. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of behind the scenes work that you put in. Stuff you do in the dark brings you into the light. One of those quotes that I stand by. And sometimes you put in a lot of hard work and you don't see it pay off at first, but you keep putting it in, don't give up, and stuff like this really humbles you and makes you think hard work really does pay off. So it feels amazing. There was a lot of tears of joy whenever I first told my parents. My mom was at work and she's crying at work. She had everybody asking her what was wrong. She thought something bad happened, but it was actually something great. And it feels good making your parents proud.
So with this year specifically, there was a bunch of turnover on the defense, and there's been quite a bit for each one of your years. Has there been one player that you really, really enjoyed playing with on the defense over your years?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be either Bobby Vernick or Tevin Williams. It's a very close call between both of them. They both play different positions, both play linebacker, but, Tevin was right behind me, so there were certain play calls where we had to work together, but Bobby Vernick was just such a game changer, and, he came in with me. It was, kind of that bond we built over the years, where Tevin was in for 1 year, and, we built and went, deep into the playoffs that year, and you build a lot of chemistry in a long season like that, and that's why we were so successful. But, Tevin Williams, we always used to say strong side, it was just that brotherly thing, we said to each other. When I broke the sack record, he was one of the first people that reached out to me, and that's the first thing he said was strong side. And, it just brings back a lot of memories, so I would definitely say Tevin Williams or Bobby Vernick.
You and Coach Lutz obviously have a very great relationship together, and every time I talk to him, he never shuts up about you, to be fair. It's easy to talk about you forever, but who are some of the other coaches that have really influenced you who weren't your direct position coaches?
I mean, every single one of them. I mean, definitely Coach Rosanno, he's a high-energy guy. He likes, the reason he coaches, he always tells people, is to build relationships. He likes the relationships you build with players. And that's something, really makes it personal. It's something different about Slippery Rock football. The coaches are like family. They're not just coaches, and it's not all about wins and losses. They really want a relationship. So I'd definitely say Coach Rosanno, as well as George Mahalik. I was one of the last recruiting classes he had here, and over the years he's done so much for me with football and academics, and he's just a great guy. So definitely those two.
All right, I think we'll have one more question each, and then we'll let you go. So when you were recruited, there were actually a lot of guys from your high school already on the team. So you just want to talk about somebody like Shamar Green, who was already on the team. Did he influence your decision at all? You played with him in high school.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge influence. And it's actually a funny story because when I was taking visits places, I actually committed to IUP first. And it was the last weekend to take visits to colleges. And, I said, I'm just going to hang out this weekend, last week I don't want to worry about it. I already committed to IUP, and then, I reached out to Shamar, and he's like, dude, just come up, hang out, we'll have a good time. It's been a while since I've seen him. I'm still in high school, and he's been in college for a year. And he had a hard year. He redshirted his first year as well. So, I said, I'll go up, I'll see Shamar, it's been a while. So went up here, ended up loving it, everything about it, not just hanging out with him, but with the whole team, and they just brought you in. Even just as a recruit, I felt like I was part of the team already. So I unfortunately had to, decommit, call Mr. Signetti down there and tell him that I was going to Slippery Rock, but it was a great decision, and as well as Derek Fulmore, he committed to Cal, actually, and was planning on going there, and we both decided to come up here, and then it all worked out, and, we were like a big family. There was a lot of West Mifflin players here, so it was amazing 4.5 years.
Last thing, with everything that you've done, there's a ton of FCS and FBS coaches who lose sleep every night knowing they didn't recruit you because you came to Slippery Rock. So just, obviously not trying to be rude or anything, but just what is something that you have to say to someone who underestimated you coming out of high school? You're a Division II recruit, you're the all-time leading everything for NCAA.
I mean, you know, it was just one of those things where a lot of them called me a tweener, you know, didn't think I'd be able to play DN, I'd be a linebacker, so I just want to say I proved you wrong. That's it.
All right, well, one more question, we'll let you go. Yesterday was Halloween. What was your costume?
Well, I was just the GOAT.
Thanks for coming on, Marcus.
Thank
It's been a
you.
pleasure.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.